today's video. Today we're going to be talking about different books that you can use with your children who love any kind of vehicles, particularly diggers and building. Okay, so let's get stuck in. So one of the first ones is this one, and there's lots of different types of these books. If you look on the back, focus it, you can see Busy Grow, Busy Farm, Busy Builders, Busy Park, Busy Cars, Busy Tractor. So there's lots of different ones, not necessarily all about vehicles, but a lot of them are. What I like about these books, they are for toddlers, but my nearly 4-year-old loves this book as well, is that they have moving parts. And so the diggers actually work. So you can kind of see here, we've got this one. If I open up the book, I can show you. Again, it moves. What I really like about this one as well is that the pictures of the diggers and the names of the diggers are actually the proper names. So we've got the backhoe here, it's not just another digger, it's an actual, they've used the actual names of them, which is important when you're 3 to use the correct names. So there's lots of different ones. So my 3-year-old loves reading this, I'll read it to him, and it's got questions as well that you can kind of engage them in a conversation about it. But also I've got a 1-year-old and he loves just looking at the moving parts. He can move some of them, and so that's developing his motor skills. And we can also talk about the colours and the pictures and things like that. There's also at the back of the book, it's got "Can you find me in this book?" So it's sort of like a little hunt to find the little worm. So we've also got that. So that is Busy Diggers by Campbell, a push-pull slide book, and you could also use that to talk about different ways of moving, you know, and then you could keep going with that idea, and you could you know, get your own diggers or own vehicles to see, or can you push it, can you pull it, can you slide it, or what else could we slide, you know, could we slide something along the floor, or does it work if it's kind of a rough surface, or does it work better if it's a smooth surface? So there's lots of different things that you can do to kind of build on this book. Okay, so we're going to go on to another book. So this one is That's Not My Train. You've probably heard of these books. There's a whole range of them, of That's Not My, and there's different animals, there's ones for different seasons as well, like Christmas or Halloween, so there's lots of different ones. This one I got for my 3-year-old when he was 2, I think, because he was just obsessed with trains at that time, and it was just a really lovely book. But he still returns to it now, even though he's nearly 4. He quite likes these books, and we can use it with the 1-year-old. You know, he's just exploring, kind of touching them, and I can say, you know, oh yes, it's squashy, you know. But actually with our 3-year-old, we can talk a little bit more about the textures and things like that, and just really develop his vocabulary. So I really like these books. They're obviously the same concept, so That's Not My Train in this case, and it goes through with different things, and they've all got the different sort of textures to feel as you go through it, and then at the end you end up with That's My Train, its engine is so glossy. And on each page again you've got this mouse that you need to find. So we've got him there, so again it's a good way to engage your children and kind of not just be reading to them, but kind of say, oh, can you see the mouse, oh, where is he this time, and encourage them to talk to you in a sentence and kind of say, the mouse is in the train, kind of thing. Or, you know, you could use it for positional language as well. Oh, he is inside the train carriage, he's on top of the carriage. So there's lots of different things that you can do with that book, and I think although these are more for babies, actually you can use them for older children as well. Now this is another book, our next one is another book that I would say is kind of more aimed at kind of younger sort of babies or toddlers. It's a kind of hide and seek one, and hide and seek is just such a good sort of concept game for them to be playing, because it is that sort of idea or object permanence. So you can use it with really young babies and kind of do it like a peekaboo, and you can lift the flaps. With our 1-year-old, obviously he can lift the flaps, so he loves to do that, and kind of, you know, he likes to play peekaboo and kind of hear me respond when he puts the flap back down and I say, oh, where's it gone, kind of thing. So it's that interaction. But equally, our 3-year-old really likes this book as well, mainly because it's got a fire engine in it, but he can then use that and he will play with his brother and he'll do the sort of peekaboo bit of the story. So it's a really lovely way not only to bond with your child and to be able to talk to them and play with them, but I found actually books for my boys are a really lovely way that they both engage with each other as well and start to interact. So these kind of books, again, there's a whole host of them. I don't know if they're on the back, they're not, but there's Where's Mrs. Bumblebee, there's ones about astronauts, there's a whole host of them, and it's a similar concept really to a lot of other books, but what I like about this is that the flaps are made of felt. So even when you've got those young babies or toddlers who don't really understand their own strength, and they kind of will turn pages or lift flaps and not meaning to, they will end up ripping the pages. Obviously this doesn't happen with these books because these are made of material. So that's why I really like them, because you can have your younger child with them and kind of know that this is fairly indestructible. So that's really good. So again, the concept, where's Mrs. Police Car? And then, oh, peekaboo. And again, I love these books for that positional language, for behind, for hiding, that kind of thing. So we've got Where's Mrs. Ambulance? And with my older child, we do that, but then we talk about, well, you know, where would the police car be? Where would it be hiding? It would be in the police station. Oh, but what about the ambulance? Would the ambulance be in the police station? No, it's going to be at the hospital, kind of thing. So you can talk about all the different things. And again, it's just really great for vocabulary. I really like these pictures as well. They're just really simple graphics. But yeah, they're just very engaging, and they're kind of things that you can do as much or as little as you want with them. And then at the end, what's really lovely about these books, we get through where are all these, and then every single book has and where are you, and there's a lovely, obviously you can just see my phone, there's a lovely mirror, and that is where your child and you can look in the mirror. And at one point, my 1-year-old used to, when he saw the mirror, he would look down at the mirror at himself, and then he'd put his face towards it and he would kiss the mirror. So you can see here, that's his kiss marks. But actually, isn't that so lovely? Because he was sort of beginning to recognise that that was him, and that he was important enough to kiss. So I always really loved that. And then, you know, it's a really great way. Mirrors are wonderful for bonding with your baby, and this is there in a book. So I really like those books as well. So those were kind of for the younger children, and now we're going to move on to ones that are maybe for slightly older children. My 3-year-old really engages with the next 3 books. So let's get going with these ones. So we've got Mr. Little's Noisy Train, and it's a lift the flap book. I love lift the flap books just because even when you've got an older child, actually, they still really want to lift the flaps. And it just means that it's a little bit more engaging for them. They're sort of interacting rather than just kind of passively listening to a story. And it's a way that you can just engage them really easily without having to think too much or kind of think of questions or whatever. I really like this one because it's just got so much vocabulary, and it's got a story, and then it tells you all the different parts of a train. And if you've got a child who is very into trains at that moment, actually something like this is quite helpful for you as a grown-up, because they probably know the different names, or they want to know the names, and actually this tells you all of the names. So I really like things like that. You know, you want to simplify it and not overcomplicate matters. particularly when they're little, but actually when they've got a special interest in something, I think it's really important to use the proper names. And even if you tell them the proper name and you then describe it in a way that they will understand, I just think it's really important rather than kind of using baby talk type things. So we've got all of the different flaps, and basically the idea of this story is that there's different kind of animals that he's finding all around the train. There's lots of different things you can do with this again. It kind of says that they hear the noises that are going on, clanking and slithering, and you kind of have to guess what they are. But actually it's really great to be able to get your child to make those noises or kind of listen out for different noises. And if you're thinking about early literacy and early sort of reading and writing, the kind of beginning of it is actually being able to distinguish different sounds. If you're familiar with phonics, it's the phonics phase 1. But basically it's just that they can listen to environmental sounds and kind of listen to the doorbell and kind of know, oh, that's the doorbell, and they'll hear a splash and think, oh, that's water, maybe it's the tap or the bath. So this is a book that you can kind of really easily incorporate that without kind of having to do some sort of special activity. So I really like that. And it's just, this book has so much detail in it that each time you can kind of see something new. You can just talk about pictures without actually having to read the story, because there's just so much going on. And if your child is particularly in a sort of why phase, there's a lot of different why questions they can ask about this book. You know, why is the bat on there? Oh, why does he look surprised? You know, oh, how is he feeling? So there's just so many things that you can talk about, and I think it's just a simple book, but actually you can get so much out of it. And even if you're reading it lots of times, as you end up doing with a child, they often have a favourite book and they want to read it several times a day, and it can get a little bit monotonous for you as the adult. But actually with this book I've not found that, because there's just so much to talk about. So that is Mr. Noise's Little Train. And then we've got, you've probably heard of this one, it's quite famous, Duck in the Truck. It's, if you're not familiar with it, it's a story where basically he crashes his truck in the muck, and then he has all of his different sort of animal friends, a frog, a sheep, a goat, all helping him out to try and get it out of the muck. What I love about this book, and you know, this is coming from a former primary school teacher, is that it's got rhyming words in it, and you know, although I don't explicitly teach my 3-year-old that they're rhyming words, you know, they're hearing it, and part of learning about rhyming is just being able to hear the same sounds. So the more that you expose them to rhyming you know, poems, rhyming books, the more easily they'll be able to actually do it once they get to that stage in school where they're actually having to you know, learn about rhyming rather than just reading it. So you can see, you know, down and brown, bush and push, it's all those rhyming words, but it's all incorporated within a story. This one as well, you know, it's got all these different animals, all these different vehicles. There's a boat, there's a jeep, there's a truck, and then at the end the animals help him to get his truck out, which is great, but then he leaves them all. He drives home in the truck and he leaves them all stuck in the muck. And so then this page you could use to just talk about, you know, should he have just driven away, or should he have helped his friend? You know, how are they feeling after they've helped their friend, but now they're all stuck as well? So there's lots of things that you can talk about with this book that's not just reading the story. Okay, and then our final book that is all about vehicles is Stanley the Builder. Now, my son, we actually got this one from the library. My son basically picked up all of the Stanley books. So he's got many jobs. He's probably very tired, but he's a farmer. He's got his own cafe. He has got his own garage, workshop, and he's also, I know, got a shop in one of the other books that we've got. But this one is Stanley the Builder. What I like, again, I am a sucker for pictures. You know, I just like really well illustrated books. And I like this because it's just really simple. You can see all the details of the different vehicles that we've got. And I just really like that you can see the details and they're clearly specific vehicles. I also like, so at the beginning and the end of the books, they have all the things that are kind of to do with Stanley. Oh, maybe it's just at the beginning. So these will change with the book. So obviously he's a builder, so it's kind of all things to do with building. So again, you can use the names and, you know, talk about what is it called, what would you use it for. Oh, I wonder what, you know, he needs the cement for. What else would he use with the cement? So there's lots of things that you can talk about just with this picture, and this isn't even in the book. This is before we've got to the title page. So the main character is Stanley, who has all these many jobs, and then he's got his friends, and each time he's kind of helping them out doing things. And so this time he's helping Myrtle, I think she's a mouse, to build a house. Again, like the Busy Diggers book, I like that they're called the correct thing. So it says he's got an orange bulldozer. So it's not just a digger, it's a bulldozer. This one's a digger. We've got a cement mixer, and they're all different colours. So again, you can just be talking about that vocabulary with your children, you know, so it gives you those prompts, you know. So even if they've said, oh, it's a bulldozer, you can say, yes, it's an orange bulldozer. So you're just expanding that language and giving them more vocabulary and more ways to talk about the things that they're seeing. There's all the different sort of aspects of building a house. So, you know, if you're thinking about, in terms of teaching about building, you know, this could link to other books like The Three Little Pigs or things like that. So this could be a sort of, if you're doing The Three Little Pigs as your main story, this could be a sort of book that you follow up with that theme of the week of building at story time or snack time or something like that. I like that it goes through all the stages, and they're all helping each other. It's just lovely. And then all of these books seem to finish with the same sort of thing. So it says, oh, a busy day. Stanley goes home to his house, and then it's time for tea, time for bath, and time for bed. Good night, Stanley. So I like that in each of the books it has a sort of routine that you can use as well. And that kind of, children can relate to that because they have a routine. And so, yeah, those are my picks for books to read with your child who really likes vehicles. Look in the links down below or on the sidebar, and you can see some other videos like this if you liked this one. I do book reviews, I do general sort of routines and life, and also just living sort of cost effectively and sustainably as a family of 4. Thank you for watching.